Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1143. Hello, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont. Today, we bring you Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, the Brewmaster, plus the return of the much-loved segment called the Wow That's Wild Files, and an interesting story.
Mike's Daily Podcast
about people's stupidity. Hey, remember yesterday when I was talking about that neighbor of mine?
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Speaking of stupidity, the one whose dog barks and barks and barks and barks. Is it a lark that I get all upset and I want to throw stuff? And then it turns out the dog says rough. And no, I was talking to someone, they said you should just go to their door,
Mike's Daily Podcast,
and say the following. Do you not hear what your dog is, the noise your dog is making?
Mike's
Do you not hear?
Daily
And I thought to myself,
Podcast.
What a wonderful phrase to use in all kinds of things in life. Do you not? You know, like there are people that are driving super slow in front of you, and you can't get around them because you're in the Bay Area, and people are zooming by on either side, and you can't accelerate fast enough to get into that lane, and that person's driving so slow, and you just want to yell at them, do you not see the traffic jam you are causing? Or you are listening to a podcast and you hear the host of the podcast trying to make a point and he can't make the point very well, and you're like, do you not know how to get to the point? So I think we should, because there's some people that are just so blind, they don't see what the heck the trouble they're causing, and it's so freaking obvious. Do you not hear how loud your dog is right now? So insane. And I feel that sometimes when you bring that to their attention, they're like, what? Oh, okay, I was living in my own little world. I didn't know. Because a lot of us do live in our own little world because we're so scared and sick and tired of this world that we're in. The world that Trump makes sound so much better every second. Look who just walked in. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing? It's a disgruntled fiddle player, tell you what. What? Do you not hear how ridiculous you sound when you put down Trump? No, I mean, he yesterday said, like, he won't endorse Paul Ryan or John McCain, which is like, they're stalwarts. Stalwarts. Mark, do you not hear how you're saying that word wrong? It is stalwart. Stalwart. The saga begins. And where was I? Oh. Yeah. And so he puts down them. He doubles down. Oh, I hate that expression. Look who else just walked in.
Hello, Mike. I make the root beer. I'm the brewmaster. Oh, boy. You're talking about Trump. I'll cut you.
Yes, I am talking about... The brewmaster doesn't like it when I talk about Trump.
Do you not hear how everyone talks about him? Oh, boy.
Well, yeah. So, he's the one person that seems to be able to get away with everything. All he has to do is say Hillary's a crook. No, Hillary's a crook, and then talk about a bunch of bad things. And then, be as un-PC as possible, get caught by the media about how un-PC he is, and then he yells about the media. Oh, that was the other thing, that he says the elections are going to be rigged. So he's already covering his bases in case he loses. The dude is so paranoid. Oh my gosh. Where does that paranoia end? Where does the Trump paranoia end? It just keeps going and going. He will not. He feeds the paranoids in America with these comments, so it just grows and grows. And then Jennifer Garner comes along and Matthew Modine. And they try and talk to him, and they try and, make a good Christian movie that all the Christians will go see. Although a lot of Christians aren't into Trump. They hate Trump. They wish Cruz was in there, or Rubio, but not Trump. But they hate Hillary even more, so they go to the Trump. Just like a lot of people aren't so happy with Hillary, but they hate Trump. That somehow makes sense. So on the last show, we talked about how Pokemon Go is fading away. Haley, during the Daily Haley, said that Pokemon Go as Pokemon went. So maybe that's you're almost done seeing people walking around with their cell phones, their smartphones, playing that game. Although last night at the San Leandro Marina, I got a very weird vibe. I was walking my dog, Basil the Boxer. Now his barks are nice. And there was a couple of millennials walking with their smartphones doing the Pokemon Go thing, and I said, "Catch anything?" And they looked at me like, "You weirdo old guy." They didn't say a word. They just kept on walking. Rude. I once did a wedding reception for a couple whose last name was Rude. The bride's last name was just changing to become Rude. And the groom was very rude and very drunk and yelled at me all night, "Play Jump Around by House of Pain." Over and over again, he yelled at me. That was a fun wedding reception to do. No, it was horrible. But the fun wedding reception to do was this past weekend. It was sort of part 2 of a wedding reception. The first one I did for this couple, was back in February. And I thought we had the facility till 10 o'clock, a little banquet room on a golf course. If you're in Podcastro Valley, you know it, the Willow Golf Course, or whatever it's called now, over there, part of the East Bay Regional Park District. And there's a lot of nice trails to walk around there and hike and take your dog off leash or ride your horse. Yes, there are horses in Podcastro Valley. Very rural. Wonderful rural sort of place. And there was... that was supposed to end at 10, right? Well, it didn't. It ended at 9:30. So it's kind of nice to do a part 2 to this wedding reception. Unlike the wedding reception with the Rude couple, which went on and on and on, and I kept getting yelled at by the groom, and it was like midnight, and I said, "Enough." And they were like, oh, but we want to go all night long. I wasn't getting paid for that, by the way, because it was a friend of my ex-wife's, and I'm too nice is the problem. Zika virus is everywhere. That's the big news this morning. Everywhere. Apparently, it's now in Puerto Rico as well as Florida. And it's gone past the 1 mile. There was like a 1 mile square area in Florida that all the Zika viruses were being found. And now it's gone outside of that 1 mile square area. So now it's also in Puerto Rico and in New York. A lot of cases in New York. Apparently, that's from people visiting outside of the country and bringing back the virus with them. So, Zika. And by the way, Obama did have a plan to fight the Zika virus. The Republicans in the Senate said, no, we're not going to spend money on this financial aid to stop Zika virus. And now here we go. So if Trump's going to talk about all the bad stuff going on in the world, his party had a lot to do with it. All right, enough of the politics. Let's get to this interesting story, local story happening in the Fremont area. And you can find out more about this show and see the past podcast pictures. Oh, speaking of which, today's podcast picture...
And here's today's podcast picture.
Is of the wonderful Basil the Boxer and I when we were at Half Moon Bay. I haven't been there lately because I can see from Podcastro Valley that it's very cloudy over there. You can see across the bay, and then there's the peninsula where all the rich people live. And on the other side, you can see on the mountains of the peninsula these huge clouds, just like they're trying to come up over the mountains But instead, they just sort of sit there and do these weird sort of whipped cream over the mountains look thing, like it's overflowing whipped cream. Like you put a bunch on your Sonic Shake, which yesterday I was waiting in line to get my Sonic Shake, because they're the only ones that will do, and probably this is the good thing, a good thing that they're the only ones that will do, an Oreo peanut butter chocolate milkshake. Yes. I had a craving for one of those yesterday. I went through their drive-thru. You can do the thing where you park and then they come up to you like the, whatever they called them, car hop waitresses back in the day in the 50s on roller skates. They're the only ones to still do that, and it's a national chain. You probably have one near you. They have really weird commercials, though. They've hired these comedians, and they're probably funnier than me, but man, it's not so good. Not the best stand-up. But I was waiting in line for my stupid shake, and usually if you're just getting something like a shake, they'll walk out to your car while you're waiting in the drive-thru line, and then you can take care of it with your credit card and everything and pay up. But there was a guy in a new Model X Tesla. He didn't even have the driver's license plates yet on the car, and he ordered 3 huge bags of food, 3 huge trays of drinks. He took forever. Stupid. So I think Tesla now, it used to be Ford Mustang drivers, the new Mustang drivers were the douches, the douche drivers of the world. Now it's the Tesla drivers. Oh, I'm helping the environment, driving in my Tesla. And I wanted to scream at the guy, do you not see how many cars are backed up and waiting, all these people waiting for their food? Tesla douche. He wants to save the environment with his Tesla, but at the same time, he's polluting his body with bad fast food, which I was also enjoying. And really quick, San Leandro Marina, there is a weird vibe going on, even without the Pokemon Go thing. It could be such a good marina. It could be so top-notch, but they've got this parking lot that goes all the way around the marina, and there's all kinds of strange stuff going on in the cars that are parked in the parking lot around the marina. Drugs, etc. And rock and roll, and maybe even some of that thing they do called kissing. Anyway, it's an interesting place, San Leandro Marina. It has so much potential, but who knows when that will ever get. So much has been built upon stuff that was crumbling down 7 years ago during the financial crisis, and now, that would probably be the next step, is to revitalize the San Leandro Marina so that there's a bunch of condos in there and rich people, and then they'll be driving their Teslas and being douches. And well, we've said that word quite a bit today. Oh, the podcast picture was me in Half Moon Bay. So that's that with Basil the Boxer. And you can help out the show through the Amazon link. Click on that Amazon link, buy whatever it is you're going to buy, and it helps us out. Or you can do a PayPal thing where you donate to the show, and you'll get a special greeting from all the Cafe Anyway characters. And there is also this wonderful thing called past interviews that I've done. All kinds of interviews. In fact, I'm going to do an interview today with a local podcastrovalian. That'll be interesting. I'll probably post on the next show. So you can find all that at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Find it and tell your friends. Okay, now the segment, Wow, That's Wild Files.
Oh, wow, that's Wild Files.
The East Bay Regional Park District, which I was mentioning earlier, that owns that golf course, kind of leases out that golf course in Podcaster Valley that I did that reception in. They have closed the Vargas Plateau Regional Park in Fremont, a huge park there, after an Alameda County Superior Court judge ruled in favor of 2 neighbors concerned about the park district's improvements to the road leading to the park. All it took was 2 neighbors to whine and complain and go, "Do you not see that this road is bad and that you need to thus close the whole park?" The closure is effective immediately and will remain in place until the matter is resolved. The Park District plans to appeal the decision requiring closure of the park. The ruling stems from a lawsuit filed in 2008 by 2 neighbors concerned about traffic and parking on Vargas Road, and the parking there and the people doing the drugs and kissing. That's also Morrison Canyon Road is also there, the two roads leading to the park. As part of the settlement, the Park District widened portions of Vargas Road, removed roadside vegetation to improve sight lines, installed no parking signs, limited parking to 25 spaces, and encouraged visitors to reach the park via Vargas Road from the east instead of the Morrison Canyon Road from Fremont. Two neighbors filed a new suit in May, claiming the Park District's improvements were not sufficient and asked the court to close the park until the case could be heard. Alameda County Superior Court Judge Frank Roche ruled in favor of the plaintiffs, and he drives a Tesla, I assume. This is all from the Tri-Valley What's Happening newspaper. That is just actually not too far from where I work. They've got their little office. The Park District purchased the 1,249-acre property in the mid-90s and opened the park in May. Yeah, it only just opened in May, and now it's closed. Renowned for its sweeping views and level loop trail, which is unusual because, like the trail over by the golf course I mentioned earlier, is very steep. The Vargas Plateau includes an important link of the Bay Area Ridge Trail. Yes, that trail goes all the way around the bay. Although in some parts it can be kind of hard to find where the trail is because you end up walking through several residential districts or the city or what have you. It was also a great place for bird watching, picnicking, hiking, and bicycling. Since the park opened, the Park District had received no reports of traffic accidents or other problems stemming from road access. Although the Park District disagrees with the court's ruling, it is closing the park and complying with the court's orders. The public is advised that the park is closed until further notice and will be patrolled to enforce the court's order. There you can contact ebparks.org for more info about that. Gosh. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. Do they not see people want to walk on a level loop trail? I guess they don't, those idiot neighbors that drive Teslas. Next show, it will be Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. Thank you, Clarence the Angel, for... Okay, I will stop with that. What do you call that? Callback. Joke. Running joke. Bad joke.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.